We are gonna.
It's on. Record's on.
I will rename myself to E3 so that when I disappear, it's not blank.
Do you just want to give that a quick test, Georgia, before we go live?
That's absolutely fine. That's E3 recruitment.
It does.
And that's Forget Me Not.
Forget Me Not.
Hey, fantastic.
Yeah, so Jason, now we're thinking about half an hour of chat and then 15-20 minutes of Q&A from people who are watching.
Whatever works, yeah. Let's see where it goes.
Lovely.
Have you been using Zoom, Jason? I take it you're a bit of an old hat with it. Brilliant.
Non-stop.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So the Q&A, we switched the chat off for people, but we've left the Q&A on. So just go for it. Me and Georgia will be invisible. Well,
so who's in charge of muting people and selecting people to ask questions and all that?
So the questions
are coming on the Q&A box.
Yeah,
okay.
So people can type questions, but when the participants come in, nobody will be able to talk. So it'll just be you two. Me and Georgia are going to mute ourselves and turn the camera off. So it'll just be you two on screen.
All right. And how many people are coming, do you know?
Should be 100 mark, hopefully, just over.
Great.
Fingers crossed. Which I think is brilliant because of it's PE Day and bank holiday.
It's PE Day. Everybody's going, it's PE Day.
I know.
I'll fit it in.
Brill. And in terms of ending the session, Chrissy, are you okay doing that when it's done?
Yeah, I'll end the session and then it gets the recording down onto here, which I'll then transfer over to you, Georgia.
And you're happy with sound-wise? You're happy with it?
Sounds brilliant. You sound really good.
Yeah, okay, great.
Those sound good. Okay, shall we?
Lovely.
We will mute ourselves.
We'll turn that off and then we'll mute. And
we're just going to wait for people to get in, are we?
I think they're already there.
Yeah, as soon as we hit broadcast, you'll go live and everybody will be in.
It's
on it, Georgia. Hit broadcast and we're on.
Are we ready?
I'm ready. I'm going to mute now.
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1.
Lovely.
Hello.
No, not at all artificial, this beginning.
I love it.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Yeah, not so bad, man. It's like it's a constant adjustment and readjustment, isn't it? This lockdown business.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I'm just adjusting and readjusting my screen so you can't see how messy the bedroom actually is in the background. That's what I've spent my life doing for the last 7 weeks. Every interview, I'm like, "Hold on, Lorraine. Let me just get this angle right."
Like, because it's also the sort of what you don't think of in the background of you, like what's just normal to you.
I mean, I don't even know what that blue thing is back there.
Yeah,
I have genuinely no idea what that is. I've set this room up because I do a little quiz on a Friday night, so I've got this room sort of set up for my YouTube channel. Yeah. I'm a YouTuber now. I'm like Ryan's World.
Yeah.
I'm making like £3 million.
You'll get a blonde streak in your hair and call yourself the Jasonoid or something like that.
That's me. I'm like the Zoella of Stockport. And they're the only two YouTubers I know. But so I've had to, this room was basically like just a spare room. Was for grandparents or for me when one of the kids got into bed and I had to just get out. So it's weird that it's sort of, this has become my office, I guess, my place of work.
Yeah. Rather than a stage, which I think like it's an interesting one. I know. How have you felt? Because you were in the middle of a tour, weren't you? And all this.
Yeah, we had 5 weeks left of a musical.
Yeah.
So we got to Leicester. Very odd. I mean, you know what's interesting, Jack, is how much the world has changed in 7 weeks. Like, to think now back to the 21st of March, which was the last Monday before lockdown. I think they went into lockdown on the Tuesday, didn't they? Something like that. But and Monday night was it was all that was our last gig. You know, that was the last show, and we were supposed to be in Leicester for a week, and then we were going to Wolverhampton and Southampton and all that. So it's very odd because I spent 7 months with people rehearsing and doing a show and getting to know them and having lunch every day and drinks of an evening, and you know, I lived with a few of them while we were on tour, And then suddenly, in the space of a week, I mean, I'm still on the WhatsApp group, but for now, at some point.
That's the thing with those WhatsApp groups as well. A lot of them have sort of reared back into life with the lockdown as well.
Oh, yeah.
A group that you joined 18 months ago, like on a production or something, it'll then reanimate itself.
Yeah. Well, also what's funny is 7 weeks ago, there was a lot of very funny memes and GIFs and jokes, and they have all stopped. There hasn't been a funny meme for, I mean, remember the little girl who put the toy gun at herself day 3 of lockdown, and that was 7 weeks ago.
Yeah, they've become reality now.
That's just our lives. Nobody can find anything funny in it.
No laughter to be had. Yeah, it's a very strange one, isn't it? So yeah, I think because also there's a sort of thing of.
Can I just ask? Are you on the toilet, Jack? I mean, we're all thinking it, but is that your toilet? That's what it looks like from here. Am I wrong? You can put it in the Q&A. Who reckons it looks like Jack Carroll's loo? Because it absolutely does.
The most disturbing thing is that it's just me and you.
Someone's even said it. Sally Andrews, straight in. Jack, lovely. You look like you're in your downstairs loo. Lisa Meeks agrees with me. Ada Watkins, 100%. That's just as a future Zoom user, Jack. That is not the room to use.
I'm going to wait. It's my office. I'm on the desk here. I promise. I'm not.
Is that what you call it? Like a throne? I call it my desk. I'm just popping to the office, love. Do a few spreadsheets. Is that like you'll drop the kids off at the pool?
Just like, but the difference is I also have to wear a business suit, otherwise I can't go.
Of course, absolutely.
It's like, that's the only.
We've all got our thing.
I'm going to have a think about it then. Or just like how clever people on the news have bookshelves and stuff. Joke about the fake bookshelves that you did in the week.
Oh yeah, that went well.
I might just have not a toilet.
I would definitely put that, or just put a flush on the side there and a toilet roll. Oh no, not a toilet roll.
Yeah,
people are still touchy about that.
Please put paper towels in bin.
Yeah,
like one of those signs you get in a sort of rundown old pub where the loo don't work.
Yeah, no, I've got what have I got? I've got my this is my TV. I built this today. You see this TV stand?
Yeah.
This TV stand. I built this TV stand today. My wife says I'm going too far for my Friday night quiz that I do on my YouTube channel. But today I built this TV stand, and so I get a TV stand. I built this little desk here. I've got a little desk here. Can you see that?
Brilliant. I can see that.
And I even ordered some lights and stuff. Look, I've got some lights.
Wow.
I've gone for it. I've really.
It's like Nick Knowles DIY SOS.
But rather than for other people, I've just done it for myself.
Yeah, in this time of crisis.
Yeah. I worked out that what I've worked out in the last month of doing YouTube is that I missed the boat. That's what I've worked out, because I've been on it for a month now. They got 11,000 subscribers. We do a pub quiz on a Friday night, 8:00. Tune in if you want. It's free later on. And, we had 20,000 people. I got a little statement from YouTube the other day. It said, in the last month, you've made $23.
Wow.
I was like, it's not Joe Wick's territory, is it?
That little Korean kid who unboxes toys.
Ryan's World.
7 million quid a year.
Yeah. Well, I heard a story that when I was working at ITV, there was a lad, I can't remember his name now, but there was a lad who had his own channel, and a lot of these kids negotiate their own contracts, by the way. It's not, They don't have an adult, or these children do their own contracts. And ITV were launching Thunderbird. It was a new reimagining of Thunderbird, and they wanted one of these kids to unbox Thunderbird 1 and play with Thunderbird 1. So they offered this child £100,000 to play with a toy. They sent him the toy. He looked at it and decided didn't want to do it.
Wow.
Didn't want to do it for $100,000, mate.
It's like, as the parents, you'd be going, Are you sure? Because look, you can put it in.
Just play with it for a minute. Play with it for a minute, Ryan.
yeah.
I don't want to.
Look at all the different poses you can do. You can move it round.
£100,000. Every one of us is chasing our tail when it comes to. Hold on, my kids are on the trampoline outside.
Brilliant.
You might be, I don't know if you can hear the kids are in the garden. You might hear a little bit of that.
Are they making £100,000 from being on the trampoline? Or?
Yeah, get it filmed. Get it filmed. Get it online. Do not play without an audience.
Yeah. That's £100,000 to play with a Thunderbird. Like, because the fact that the kid didn't then do that is worse for the TV show, isn't it?
Yeah, and they lost the Thunderbird one. I don't imagine he gave it back. So. Yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, go on. You've probably got some questions. I've just not talked to another adult all day, so
yeah. Well, I don't know whether the level of conversation will be any more interesting. I was just because there is a sort of danger of talking about lockdown too much, so I was just thinking of a couple of things we could maybe have a chat.
I'm happy to talk about anything but lockdown. So yeah.
Well, I sort of just it might be good to have a chat about how we met, really, and that whole thing, a bit of a trip down memory lane.
Why not?
So yeah, like what was. If you want to just tell the people how...
crikey, it was a while ago. So it would have been 2010, I expect. And
I think 11, and just about the end of 11.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a few people had sent me this video of this young boy who was doing essentially what looked like a best man speech at a wedding. And he was very funny. It was very funny, in fact. And I remember looking at it, I remember sharing it and thinking that was very funny. And then at the time I was presenting the One Show, and obviously that's the sort of show that really loves anything that's fun and humorous and about community and family. And so it sort of fitted in quite nicely, really. And I remember I got in touch with your parents, not directly.
I'm not negotiating my own contracts.
No, absolutely not. And we eventually met up, and we did a short video, didn't we, for the show?
Yeah, for the show,
for the One Show, and you came on the One Show, and then you did your first ever gig.
Yeah,
you came and did your first ever gig, supporting me. Was it Bradford?
Yeah, St George's Hall.
St George's Hall
in Bradford.
St George's Hall, and Jack came and opened the show for me.
Yeah, which was a very sort of brave thing for you to do. Because...
Well, you say it was, but at the end of the day, you were a kid. You had your little walking thing.
Yeah,
you know. I thought there's no way they're going to be. I mean, I know my audience. I'm not Frankie Boyle. They're not going, who's this idiot? Like, I know, even if you were terrible, my audience are so nice. They're going to go, wow, I mean, I'm not gonna heckle this kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's that.
In fact, for 4 months afterwards, I started using one, just a little walking frame. Honestly, you get a lot of.
But that was for that benefits thing you had going on.
Yeah, I mean,
I told you about that. I thought we said keep
don't
that.
like to talk about it.
But yeah, Jerry Seinfeld thing about everyone gets 5 minutes worth of grace when they go on stage. Like,
yeah, unless you got a walking aid, and then you get
that's
the whole
it.
time.
He'd never seen a disabled kid do stand up, and you get as much grace as you like. Like, I was talking about this with someone the other day. Like, it is. I think it's not a very popular thing to say, but it is easier to do stand-up when you have a disability. Because
yeah, it is. But at the same time, in that respect, I know what you're saying. I don't think it is fully. I think you're being a bit hard on yourself, joking apart. Because fundamentally, Jerry Seinfeld is right. You do get a grace period for when you first come on, and you possibly get a couple of minutes extra grace period because people, I don't know, feel sorry for you or think this is unusual or whatever you think an audience would think. But at some point, you've got to be funny, especially for people who've paid 25, 30 quid in an audience to come and watch you. So there is that. Don't get me wrong, you'll also have, you might come away from a gig thinking that went well, but for those people to still come back and see you a second, third, fourth, fifth time, well, then you've got to be funny. Nobody's spending 25 quid out of sympathy. Let me tell you that.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
So I think you're probably a bit hard on yourself there. You've got to have the goods, you know.
As well, though, you know, if ever I'm having it from a perspective of like, if I'm ever having a slow day coming up with stuff, I know I can always write a joke about my disability as well. So there is that. I've always got something to say. Well,
it's always a weird thing, isn't it? Because I remember when you then got on Britain's Got Talent, and you know, which you did incredibly well with, I thought, and you were very funny, and you know, should have won it for me, you know.
Well, I can't do the dancing. That's what.
No, there is that. I did tell you, put a bit of dancing in.
Yeah, you're telling me limber up. You know, learn how to do a backflip. But just didn't listen.
You know, and I know there's always going to be this thing, and I know Lost Voice guy had it. You know, which is, oh well, you only do jokes about your disability but the fundamental rule about comedy, about writing comedy, is write what you know. What you know. And if you are, and it's only the fact that generally as a white male, able-bodied male, in general, we're the sort of default human being, aren't we? We're that's the way society has been geared up, which is white, sort of slightly middle class, male, able-bodied. That's the default human. This is not my opinion, by the way. I'm just saying this is sort of how society is. Yeah.
On VD, you're going on.
This is a meeting about eugenics, isn't it? I thought this was. And then everyone else is a variation of that. You know, that's the sort of default setting for society. And so, invariably, whatever I decide to talk about, or whatever a white, straight male, able-bodied male starts to talk about, is invariably what the society is talking about. But if you're a female actor, or you've got a disability, or you're an ethnic minority, or whatever it is that sets you apart that's different, of course you're going to talk about those things, because you've got to talk about the world from your perspective. So that makes sense to me.
And that I think is one of the great things about stand-up, isn't it? That it gives you an insight into someone else's point of view in a way that I don't think other stuff really does. And that that is a good sort of function of stand-up.
Yeah.
So you started, because you started stand-up pretty young as well, didn't you?
Many years ago, Jack. Yeah.
Last
century.
Those halcyon days.
I started stand-up comedy before the invention of microphones. I started stand-up in 1990, sort of 8-9 time. So
that's the year I was born.
Goodbye. 1998. That's the worst chat-up line you can ever use, by the way. If you're ever in a club and you're chatting with an older woman and she just slips into conversation that she was doing some. I had a conversation when I was on tour with Phil Jupitus, he of Nevermind the Buzzcocks fame. We were on tour together, and I'm actually 38. I know I don't look it because I've got 6 kids, but I'm 38, and I think Phil's in his mid-50s, 55, say. And we were on tour. We were doing Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. We're in Leeds one night having a curry in Leeds. And I remember I was talking to him. I said, when did you start stand-up, Phil? And he said, I started, it's about 1983. I said, oh, wow. I said, I was born in 81. I said, my goodness. And then just flippantly, I wasn't even meaning it as an insult. I said, that means when you were starting stand-up, I was learning how to stand up. For the first time.
I never quite got that far.
I thought, that's quite a funny line, and then I just watched the devastation in his face. So yeah, do be careful when talking about age. But yeah, I started at I was 16, 17, and I'd been I was doing all my stuff at college, and all the I was in all the plays and stuff like that. And I had a part-time job round the corner, because this was of the time where your mum would say, right, well, if you're going to live here, you're gonna pay your way, and you're like, I'm 16. So I'm like, I'm playing with my toys on the internet and making $100,000 a month. So I just got a job round the corner, just around the corner, pub round the corner. And I went round, and this old Irish lady, Anne, and her daughter, Lorraine, I remember. And I remember getting a job there, just washing glasses and cleaning up after weddings and funerals and whatnot. And on a Thursday night, they used to have the Buzz Club. This is before your time, really, I think, the Buzz Club. So this would have been, it's sort of close. I think it's an Indian restaurant now, so much before your time. And it was a lovely comedy club. And I got to see so many brilliant comics there. I got to see some terrible comics as well. And that really, they're the ones who inspired me the most, because even when they were rubbish, they still got paid. And I thought, hang on, that can be rubbish. So, so I was 16 and collecting glasses, and it's sort of like an apocryphal tale now, and anyone who's a fan of mine will know this story. It's on Wikipedia. I've mentioned it in my book. Like, you know, it's one of those stories, but I will tell it you anyway, because it is a fun story for people who don't know. One fateful night, there were some comedians who were on the way up from London. They were all car sharing, 3 or 4 of them, and on the way up, they broke down, and the compere, John Marshall, Agraman was his stage name, the human anagram. He was a lovely fella, and he was panicking, and he said, "I've got no acts, I've got nobody to go on." And Anne, I remember the Irish landlady, she said, Jason, go on. I said, "What?" I'm like, "You what? Jason, do it. I said, no, I don't think that's what you're about. She says, "He's funny in the kitchen." I said, "In the kitchen? Yeah. We're all funny in the kitchen." It mean it's like we can all sing in the shower. It don't mean you can do it on stage. And that's only because I fancy your daughter. You know, that's the only reason I've got funny stories in the kitchen. Anyway, I said, "All right, I'll do it." He said, "I'll give you £50 to go on and talk for 10 minutes. 50 quid. Now, bearing in mind, this was a time where I was on £4 an hour to work 4 hours on a Thursday. So this is big chunk of change. So I thought, fine, 50 quid, 10 minutes, I can absolutely nail that. And I remember I got on stage, and I remember doing some really old, like back in the day when you used to get funny emails with funny jokes on them. I just told a few of these, you know, and some funny answers from Family Fortunes and, you know, all that, those ones. And then I got heckled on my first ever gig. I got heckled. And I'd been mugged a few weeks before. I was walking home in Moss Side where I went to college. And so I had a bit of a, I'd had one of my teeth knocked in and it was discoloured. A big thick lip and a black eye. And this heckler said, "What happened to your face?" Imagine getting heckled on your first ever gig. "What happened to your face?" And I said, "Oh, I got mugged." And they laughed. 300 of them laughed. That's when I first realised how close comedy and tragedy are to each other. And I said, "I got mugged." Yeah, I was walking home and I got mugged. And then I told them the story. And, you know, it's a funny one because what happened was the story ended up becoming a part of my act that stayed in, I think, until I did my first DVD live at the Manchester Apollo, where I remember walking home. The guy jumped out, about 3 of them they were, and he said to me, "Give us your money or we'll beat you up." And so I gave him my money, and then he beat me up anyway. And I remember afterwards sort of sitting there in the pool of my own blood thinking, I'm not annoyed that he took my money. I am annoyed that he broke our verbal contract. We entered into a gentleman's agreement.
Criminals, who'd have thought they'd be dishonest?
No honour among thieves.
Yeah.
So that was the first story that I sort of told on stage, and it went down well, and I thought, I might do this. And I got off stage, and he said, "Do you fancy doing another one?" That went well. And I said, all right. And he had another couple of clubs, and I did a couple of gigs for him, and I carried on, you know, with the glasses for a time being. And I think I did 8 gigs, and as it happened, one of the gigs was for the Northwest Comedian of the Year award. It was like a heat, which I ended up coming second, I think, in the heat, and then got to the final and won the final. And Peter Kay had won it the year before, and Johnny Vegas and Dave Spikey and Caroline Ahern and all these people. Justin Morehouse has won it since then. And I think Alan Carr won it after me, and a few, you know, John Bishop won it, Sarah Milliken. And so it's a prestigious award. And I won it after doing 8 gigs or something. So you can imagine how many people hated me.
Comedians being jealous?
Yeah.
No way. Yeah. So because I suppose we were similar in that regard then, that we didn't probably didn't really have as much of an idea as those people who've been going for ages about what the.
I had no idea at all. Didn't know what the rules were. You know, it's you only find out from doing it really with stand-up. And the beauty of stand-up is you never really know. Even now, I'm trying to, you know, I'm supposed to be touring at the end of this year. I imagine that probably won't happen now, and we'll do it next year. But you know, I'm trying to write this tour, and I was writing it about. It was called Like Me, and it was sort of supposed to be about our modern obsession with being liked. That was the idea of it, but also the fact that you're like me. You know, we're all humans. We're all the same. And I sort of had this idea because I'd read a thing that even getting a like off on Facebook releases the same endorphins in your brain as drugs and gambling and all these other things. So I thought, well, that's quite interesting. And it was quite an introspective, and I had some good stuff on it, good stories on it. And then this has happened. And suddenly, all those things that you thought were relevant and were worth talking about are suddenly like, is that going to be interesting? Is that going to be a thing that that people want to hear about? You know, I don't think people want to hear 2 hours of lockdown humor, even in 2 years' time. But the world has changed, and our sort of take on things has changed. So it's going to be really interesting. So if I'm honest, I've just put it to one side. I thought, you know what, I'm going to wait until probably the autumn, I think, and then start work on it.
Because that is the thing, I suppose, with stand-up. Like, with other stuff, with telly and you know, sort of narrative stuff people write.
Yeah.
The good, I think anything good to do with lockdown or corona will take about 3 years to, you know, for anyone to do anything good about it. Whereas with stand-up, we don't really have that luxury, do we? It's got to be.
And like already, if you'd written 10 minutes about stockpiling toilet rolls, well, it's already finished. It's already too late. You know, if you're going to do some jokes about that, it's done, mate. It's over, you know. So,
well, I did, because as we know, my office doubles up as a toilet.
Yeah, of course, you've got a bit.
It's always there.
But it depends, doesn't it? It's in the moment. Like we were just outside, out the front there, and you know, it's so hard. There's some kids outside. There's some kids playing outside, and they're obviously all trying to keep socially distant. But you know, my little boy's 2, and he don't know He's not seeing the government updates. And so I'm sort of saying to him, mate, stay away. But that also feels horrible. Stay away from that other kid in case he's got a disease. Like, that feels weird. So in the end, we sort of like, well, look, we've been locked up for however many weeks. You've been locked up for however many weeks. If they're going to play in the same path, as long as they're not touching each other and breathing on each other, we just keep an eye on it, you know. And we sort of came to like a mutual agreement. And then I said, for a laugh, as everyone was starting to settle, and we live in quite a well-to-do, you know, nice area. Like, I said, "Oh, hang on, he did have bat for breakfast." Like, I thought that was like a funny thing to say to neighbours that we don't really know that well.
I think that's the problem, isn't it? You can't really turn that little voice, because I think as well, if you hang around or talk to comics quite a lot, you're sort of filter for what's acceptable in public.
In polite company, yeah. I think generally I mean, I sort of get it right on generally, you know. I sort of know what to say and what you know, what's going to be offensive, and I try to steer away from that as a general rule of thumb.
I remember when we gigged together, when we did the one show thing, when you came round to my house, you just got in trouble for that thing about the dog. When the woman had put the cat in the bin. Yeah,
the woman who put the cat in the bin, and I did a little joke on the show saying, I can't remember what I said now. I think we were trying to fill for time, I think, because it's a live show, and Alex Jones said to me, "What did you think, Jason?" I said, "I thought it was terrible." I said, "But I showed it the dog, and he thought it was hilarious." I thought that was just like a funny joke. But what was funny was the amount of people who complain. But people will always find a way to be offended. And I've sort of got to a stage now in my career where it still surprises me, and I still get upset by it. It still upsets me when you know, I had it the other day with this Tesco's thing. You know, it does sort of take me. My wife just says, "Put your phone down. Why are you reading it? Once it's down, it doesn't exist." You know, it's something that I'm still trying to learn on a day-to-day basis. You know.
Yeah, because I think that's the thing that you do have trouble with the trolls and stuff on you seem to get a lot more of it than other people do, and I don't really know why.
Considering I don't court it, and I'm not an offensive comic or person, I'm just a nice bloke, I think. You know? Generally, just try my best. But yeah, it's interesting what people. I think people, in the past I've been, I've voiced my opinion on political things, which I'm never shy from.
Well, I don't think you do it in a way that's sort of hectoring or telling.
No, I just want what's best for people, and I want what's best for people who don't have a voice and don't get listened to, and so my dad was a union leader, and he was a shop steward, and so I was sort of brought up on a picket line, and my dad used to fight for other people's rights, and so I was always sort of part of that growing up. And I remember one time we didn't go into school because the dinner ladies were on strike, and there was a picket line outside, and my dad wouldn't cross it. And I thought, I'm having a bit of this. I'm an 8-year-old flying picket. I'll take this all day long.
Yeah, I think some kids feel similar with lockdown. They don't see the sort of gravity of the situation, do they? They're just thinking they're getting time off school.
Yeah, I mean, my kids are a bit like that, and you've got to remind them. You've sort of got to remind them to a certain degree, but then I also think, if there's kids at home who are just thinking this whole time is a bit of a DOS and they're off school, then I'm fine with that, because at least I'd rather they thought that than knew the horrendous gravity of the situation.
Yeah, some adults are thinking along those lines.
Well, I sort of wish I had, to be honest. I wish I didn't know the truth, But yeah, people will always find something to be angry about, particularly on Twitter. It doesn't really happen on Facebook and Instagram. Instagram's just lovely pictures generally, but for some reason there's something about Twitter. Maybe it's because, and I'm guilty of it as well, we all do it. We often follow people that we don't necessarily like.
Yeah.
We just follow people because I think, they'll probably say something that I might be interested in, whether I like them or agree with them or not. So yeah, sometimes you're going to get it in the net. But I must say, I was surprised. This week, I was very surprised. I don't know if you saw it, but I applied for Tesco this is back on the 21st of March. So this was 7 weeks ago, this was stockpiling hell. This was, can you stay in your homes? The war's coming. We need 50,000 people to pick fruit. We need 100,000 people to work the supermarkets. We're at war with a virus. I've just finished on tour. I thought I'll help out. So I've applied for about 20 of these, a load of volunteer stuff, a load of proper jobs. I thought I can get, I used to work at Asda. I've worked in retail. I'll be fine. I'll get back on the delivering food. It'll be fine. 7 weeks go by. I've done other bits in the past that I've not mentioned. I'm not one of them who's given it. Look at all these great things I've done. I just kept my mouth shut because it's not worth it. And even though I'm doing nice things, I'm like, nope.
Yes.
And then I just posted on this week and just said, and what happened was I posted this picture of me being rejected by Tesco, saying, and in my voice I heard this. Absolutely livid. That's how I said it. But when it was reported by Sky News, it said, Jason Manford, absolutely livid. So you can see how that has been misconstrued. So then I got because they atted me in as well, the barrage I got from essentially morons, Jack. Morons. Who only read the headline and not the full story. So I got a lot of people saying, "Oh, why should you get that job? You're taking that job off somebody else." I'm like, I'm not. I wasn't. I was doing. It was 7 weeks ago. I was trying to help. Why don't you do some volunteering? What was funny was I am doing volunteering. I've been doing some driving for the NHS, taking people to sort of non sort of COVID related hospital appointments and whatnot. And I was in a car park and I was waiting for this woman to come out of the podiatrist. And I was flicking through my phone, reading these messages from people who were having a go at me, calling me all sorts of names, thinking, how's this happened? I'm literally waiting. I'm in a high-vis jacket with my name tag on, with stickers on my car saying that I'm doing this driving. I'm waiting for this woman to come out the doctors. I'm thinking, how am I the bad guy?
Yeah, nice guys might not finish last, but they do get called a twat in a car park.
Absolutely, yeah. So no, it was a bit of a weird one. To be fair to the papers, they were all very nice about it, and they all sort of reshifted it and put it out there. But there's an odd concept, I think, in the world, which is because this week there's been something. The other things that I've been doing is every so often there's been like someone's got in touch and said, you know what, my grand's 90, she's stuck by herself. She really liked your album, or she came to see you do your music tour or one of your music. Would you just go and have a little sing to her in the garden or whatever? And say, I said, absolutely. And I've done it a few times, and it's not been filmed. The one time it gets filmed and it ended up on, Daily Mail or whatever. They're trying to do a job as well, trying to get some news out there, and there's no news. And then I got someone saying, well, he's only done this for the publicity. Like, I was just doing it for Mavis's birthday. What do we do?
Well, if you'd gone to Rupert Murdoch's garden to sing to him,
that's different. Yeah, that's different.
Yeah, if that was the 85-year-old you'd chosen to go sing to, then he might have a point.
What am I trying to get publicity for? I've got no job. I've got no tour. I'm not on the telly. Like, I've got nothing to sell. It'd be like going on Jonathan Ross and go, what have you got? I've got nothing, Jonathan. I've got nothing. I'm stuck in my house. What do I need a publicity for? What happened was I got a load of stick on Twitter.
What are you on to plug? Well, I built that telly yesterday.
Yeah, I built that.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Lovely. Well, how long have we been going now?
Oh, hours.
Been going an hour and a half, have we?
No, half an hour.
Half an hour. Oh, yeah, sorry. So, yeah, I think it's just one of them things, isn't it, that if you're there, and I think that was an interesting point you raised about what you thought in your head, what you were saying about the Tesco thing and being livid. As soon as it's out there, everyone has ownership over it then. And then, it's, you're at the mercy of, like you say, stupid people.
Well, I had an argument with somebody at one point, and my wife's right. I should just put the phone down and forget about it. But, it's sort of, I've also not been heckled for a while either, so it's sort of like being back at work. It's like sparring,
Who's got that joke about when they stopped stand up to do some supply teaching and a kid put his hand up and they told an 8-year-old to fuck off?
Yeah, exactly. So I had an argument with somebody who said, and I said, I went back and forth with her a little bit, and she said something like, well, you know what, that's just my opinion and everyone's entitled to their opinion. And this phrase, this everyone's entitled to their opinion, has really been doing the rounds over the last few years. And actually, no, not everybody is entitled to their opinion. As I replied to her to say, well, in this occasion, you're not, because I have all of the facts. Like, I am the subject. I'm everything in this story.
You have all the things that are the basis of an opinion.
So you're not entitled to your opinion because I've told you what the answer is, like what the actual story is. So it's this weird this modern day obsession with freedom of speech. People say, it's against my freedom of speech. That doesn't mean you're allowed to be a dick. Like, you're still, you know what I mean? Like, you still have to be nice and thoughtful about people.
Yeah, and that's getting mixed up with comedy a lot as well. I think they've taken those freedom of speech people have sort of taken comedy, under their wing and sort of said, these people should be. But not if what you've said is a shit joke.
Yeah, I know.
That guy who got like his pug to do the pug dog,
the Nazi thing,
thing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to rally against that guy because
it's a slippery slope.
If he came up to you in the pub, you'd go, "Oh, mate, just leave me alone."
I can't imagine anyone was at a Hitler rally, while he was doing one of them. And people went, "I don't agree with it." Well, he's entitled to his opinion, mate. Okay, back off. No worse or better, better than you. He's allowed to say what he wants to say. I says kill everybody. It's just his opinion. Everyone's entitled to one. Like, there's got to be a cut off.
I watched a little bit of a clip of him on the History Channel about an hour ago.
Oh, he's all over that. Him and Sharks.
That's a remarkable
discovery.
Impression,
Crikey.
I've got to say. It's a brilliant impression. Yeah, that's a funny one. So you've been about singing then?
Yeah, I've been doing a bit of singing for old ladies in the gardens.
Yeah, lovely.
I mean, that's more for me than anything. Don't get me wrong, Jack. When I've done my bits of look at I'm using an Allen key to make me point.
That's an old Tony Blair tactic.
Just picking things up. Look, when I think I was just calculating now. When I've been doing any bits of volunteering, it's for purely selfish reasons. I have 6 children, Jack, and a wife, of course, as well. So there's 8 people in this house a lot of the time, and so if anything, it's been for me. The other day I took someone from Hazel Grove to Hazel Grove, and it took me an hour and a half. So you can see, I just use it to get out of the house. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you need that sometimes. The amount of people I've seen on Facebook who are just like, you can tell they're doing stuff to get away from a kid.
100%. I mean, for example,
you've rigged up a whole TV studio.
Don't go in Daddy's room.
That's brilliant. So you started, because you can do quite a lot of different stuff as well. I think that's the good thing about you.
Well, I do a lot of different stuff. Let's not.
Yeah.
If I can do it, is someone's opinion.
Yeah, the opinion of the people on Twitter who are entitled to their opinion. But yeah, you've not. There's a lot of different stuff you've done, and I think stand-up helps with that in a way, doesn't it? Because it gives you a lot of different skills to be able to transfer them over then to do different stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that's the great thing about stand-up, I think, is that it all the skills that you learn from it are transferable. What's interesting is when you do musical theatre, it's sort of the opposite, actually. The jobs are slightly opposite. With musical theatre, everything you've learned, all the singing, all the dancing, all the acting, your accents, your spatial awareness, all those things that you learn are on show. They're here, and you show the audience we're here, and interestingly, stand-up's the opposite. So everything you learn in stand-up comedy, your pullback and reveals, your rule of 3, your timing, all those things, you keep them hidden, so you just sound like a bloke just down the pub having a chat and a laugh, and so it's sort of the opposite. But yeah, certainly what I've learned from stand-up, I've been able to take into theatre and into acting, and from acting and theatre, I've been able to take stuff back into my stand-up, and my stand-up's become better because of that, Well,
you sing all your punchlines now, don't you?
Yes, I do, yeah. I do.
Really...
He had no nose. Yeah, that's the one thing I've not been able to sort of merge together yet is funny songs. Like I've just never... I can't write the lyrics to make them to make it funny. So that's one thing I've not done. So at the moment, they're 2 very separate situations. But interestingly, from doing The Masked Singer, there's a lot that gave me a lot more confidence to maybe do something with the singing, because having the mask on and people not knowing it was you just gave you a little bit of freedom to. And to do that thing, a bit of confidence to do it. And I sang songs that I wouldn't normally sing, and I performed in ways that I wouldn't normally do, and I just loved it. It was joyous.
Yeah, that's pretty, because I suppose that anonymity don't give the I'm entitled to my opinion brigade a chance to sort of leap on your line. So
well, also, we have a very British sense of things, in this, and it's sort of the opposite in the States. I say British, maybe that's unfair, but there's definitely a stay in your lane mentality in this country sometimes, and we can really suffer with that. We people, and this is not just in the entertainment industry, that might be something you've worked as a plumber for 20 years. Well, that's you're a plumber now, and just because you want to be a chef or a florist, well, you can't, because that's your job. We know what you do, and you're John the plumber,
Yeah.
So And I think that's sort of what happens with that's definitely what's happened with me. Often blokes more than women, I think. Women are a bit more, they get that you're able to be good at more than one thing. They multitask, whereas blokes can be a bit linear. They're like, stay in your lane. And I guess what the hedgehoggers sort of, being the hedgehoggers helped me realise is that actually you just go in whatever lane makes you feel happy. I mean, not if you're a hedgehog. You should very much not be in any lane.
They've got a video about that they play in primary school. Stop, listen. Yeah.
But yeah, so it really, I loved it. It just gave me a real freedom and a real sense of, I just had a great time.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah, so should we open up the Q&A?
Let's have a look then. Who's got some questions? What have they got? Should we read one each and then see what the answers are?
Yes, lovely.
All right, let's do it.
Where are we starting at the top?
Well, a few of them are just saying, yes, it does look like the toilet. That's the first 10. I think Fire Tablet is the first person who's asked. I presume they've got a real name, and this is just on their Fire Tablet. They've not worked out how to put their name on there.
That's just like, it's a Deepal thing. They've just changed the name to Fire Tablet. That's great.
So Fire Tablet says, hi, Jason. Have you been asked to do a film? If not, what film do you wish you could have been in, Debbie? I've had a couple of offers of little things over the years, but nothing major, no big films. Nothing that that actually made anything and did anything. So what would I have liked to have been in? Crikey, I mean anything, any of the ones that were the Jumanji. I don't know, anything that was at the cinema.
I reckon, just throw your hat in for the new James Bond. I have done.
Well, I've got to say, Jack, they keep talking about Idris Elba as the next James Bond.
Yeah.
And they're saying, well, there's never been a black James Bond. And that's all fair. That's all fair. That's a fair argument. But I'll tell you what, there's definitely never been a fat James Bond.
Yes. Yeah. Indeed. Now, and, that is the sort of, you don't want to be, it'd be nice to see him get out of breath now and again.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. It had dramatic tension.
Exactly. The Pie Who Loved Me.
I remember I had a joke on Britain.
Pie.
I had a joke on Britain's Got Talent about a disabled James Bond, which was I just did like, so I came up and, oh, Mr. Bond, I've been expecting you. And then I did 10 minutes of wheezing and then just went, sorry, mate, no lift.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was my audition tape.
Go on then, who else has had a chat?
Where are we here? Where are we?
Someone mentioned me kids quiz. That I do a kids quiz on a Wednesday at 1:30 on my YouTube channel. And I get my kids, as part of their homeschooling, to write the questions in the morning.
Nice.
Nailed it.
Nice. Right, lovely. Oh, so they disappear after you've asked them. Sorry, I was looking for that Fire Tablet.
Oh, yeah, the Fire Tablet one's gone. So
nice.
We'll just leave them there, shall we? Yeah, Steve. Andrew Pilling said, how many deliveries did you make today, Jim? I'm not doing the Tesco thing, but Iceland got in touch and said that they would make a decent contribution, like $3,000 or something, to Children's Adventure Farm Trust, which is a children's charity that I'm patron of, if I'd go and work for an afternoon for Iceland. So
nice.
We'll do that next week.
You'll bump into Kerry Katona.
Is that what she's doing?
No, did she used to do the voiceover for him, didn't she?
Oh, yes, she did. Yes, that's right. So, Mum's gone to Iceland. So
good. Yeah, Mums and Jason Manford. I'd love to see that as the new slogan. Lindsay Marshall says, I'm hoping you can't see us because we're sat like absolute slobs eating crisps on the decking, drinking lager out of cans.
I love it. I love that.
Well, it'll certainly... That's what I was envisioning the audience at home doing.
That's what I was doing 30 seconds before this thing started. And that's what I'm going to be doing 30 seconds after it finishes. So don't worry, Linz.
If we weren't both comedians, what would we be doing?
It's always a tough job, a tough question, because we both started as children, essentially.
Yeah.
But I think probably teaching. I think that was something I was always interested in, teaching. My dad always said I'd make a good lawyer. Which I don't think he meant as a compliment.
Was that when you were arguing with him?
Yeah, essentially. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know really. What would I like to do if I'm looking at jobs now? Because world's changed slightly, and you don't know what's going to happen. But I quite fancy being a dentist. I mean, I know it's a lot of training, but I don't know. There's just something about dentistry. I think I could do that.
If you become a dentist, I'll do the hygienist bit with the.
Yeah, you could do that. He's the
Just
only.
That probably does take a lot of training, but it looks like I could do it. Probably.
Yeah, you'd be all right. Yeah, no, maybe you'd be good at that. Yeah, maybe dentistry. He's the only person I know who's got a better car than me. So I think, what money do they earn? That's a total lie as well. I drive a 7-seater.
Yeah, but the thing is, with the dentist car, all his seats go all the way back.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'd be doing. Probably something to do with writing or something like that.
Yeah.
I'd find another way to do the creativity. But I enjoy admin and stuff as well. So maybe some.
Yeah. That's my worst part of the job, to be honest. I hate that's having to sort out all that, your bloody tax returns and all. Oh god.
Oh yeah, no, I don't do any. I meant just sending emails and stuff.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
nothing that could get me Jimmy Card. What would be your dream job? That's we've
done that.
Am I going to grow a beard as impressive as Jason's during lockdown? Well, that is a compliment to you. I think I've had two. This is the third incarnation of the lockdown beard. So I've had two shaves during that time. So, but I've got this little patch of dead skin where I fell over when I was a kid. So nothing grows there. It's like the Chernobyl of my face. So yeah, I'll get working on it.
Here we go. Anonymous attendee. That's a weird slightly creepy name. What would your last meals on death row be? Now, if that would have just come from like Kerry Jones, that would have been totally fine. But the fact that it's come from anonymous attendee makes it sound sinister.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't eat anything cooked by anonymous attendee on death row. Otherwise, it might be happening a bit early. I don't know. I think probably some pasta-based. Need your carbohydrates for your journey to the other side. I think
I'd probably go. Oh, crikey! Try to turn that down. There we go. I'd probably go all you can eat buffet, because then it would never end. You just carry on going, and then they could never kill you. So yeah, I'd probably go like an all you can eat buffet, or maybe like a jar of Marmite, because I hate Marmite anyway. But that'd last a while, wouldn't you? I'm not finished.
You might grow to love it as well.
I probably would in those last few moments. Yeah.
Would you rather have hair for teeth or teeth for hair? Well, you've just said you want to be a dentist, so you'd turn into a hairdresser if that was.
I guess
you'd have to be a barber in that world.
I think somebody might have gone a little bit mad in the lockdown.
I hope that's not an experiment actually performing on themselves.
Yeah, right. Here we go. Kerry and Bradley from Huddersfield. Jason, you are magnificent as the hedgehog. Oh, you guys. How did you keep it under wraps from your family and friends for so long? Well, I was contractually obliged to keep it under wraps and not tell anybody, which was fine. I managed to I told my wife. My wife knew. I didn't tell my children, though, which was fun. And they were very secretive. When we did the show, it was all very cloak and dagger, And I didn't tell my kids at all. Then on the night of the final, my daughter was at a sleepover. And her friends they were all watching this show. My daughter's 9. And they were saying, "That's your daddy." And my daughter was going, "I think I would know that was my dad." And then off it came. She was livid, Jack. Livid.
I think Boris Johnson has a similar thing with the
absolutely livid.
They're going. That's your dad. He's going. We would know. Yeah. That's like that must have been a shock for her then.
Yeah, they were all a bit shocked, but they loved it, and we went back then and watched it. Again,
I had seen on Facebook that some people thought it were you because they could tell from the way you were standing.
Well, yeah, I mean, some people were proper Columbos about it, but my my favourite one, I think, was I rang Alfie Bow, and I said, this was like a few weeks into it, and I said, because I noticed online people were saying, is it Jason Manford? Is it Michael Ball? Is it Michael Crawford? Is it Alfie Bow? And I thought, that's funny that they think I'm Alfie Bow. And so I rang him and I said, just obviously I didn't tell him it was me. I just said, have you been watching this Masked Singer? I keep getting messages from people saying they think it's me. He said, so do I. So do I. I keep getting them. He said, so I watched it last week. I watched it. Anyway, I watched this hedgehog sing and I thought, I'm not that shit at singing, am I? And I was like out on the phone like, what? Maybe the suit's just dead heavy, Alfie.
You should have just gone, everyone's entitled to their opinion.
Everyone's entitled to their opinion when it's wrong. This says, what's your favourite? Sandra Anderson says, what's your favourite place or theatre to gig at? Have you got a favourite place?
Favourite place? Well, I think it would have been the Square Chapel Arts Centre in Halifax.
Oh, yeah, we did a gig there, didn't we?
Yeah, sadly gone under.
Yeah.
Recently. So yeah, either there, I've done probably, somewhere that Hammersmith Apollo is really nice as well. So probably,
Yeah, that's a cracker,
Yeah, probably either of those two.
One of them. My favourite gigs are outside of this room, anywhere that's not at home. I used to have favourite places, and now it's just in a theatre, anywhere.
What's a place?
What's that?
What's a place? I've forgotten what a place
what's a
is.
place? A different place. I don't know really. I sort of have. I don't really have a favourite place. I love doing Liverpool. I love playing. I love playing Leeds. I sort of like playing at places that have got a bit of rivalry with Manchester. I think I quite like playing on that. So any Yorkshire gigs are always fun because there's a little Lancashire thing. Liverpool's always good because of the Manchester thing. North and South, there's something like that. I like playing in Scotland and Northern Ireland and Wales because there's an English thing. Yeah. So I quite like when there's a bit of bit
of needle.
Yeah, but something you can have a better banter about, quite
at stake. I think, I get that. I've seen Noel Gallagher in Leeds a couple of times, and he's between song patter is just going to be all about that. Like that's filled for him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it is they are a good one. Where are we for time?
I think that's most of the questions done. Really, somebody asked me if I would have a baby number 7 whilst in lockdown, and unless
that's going to be its name, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, Lockdown Manford. Yeah. No, I don't. No, absolutely not. And also medically impossible because I had a snip last year. So there's no. It's not working now. That doesn't work now. That's all. That road is blocked.
Yes, that's pretty much locked down.
That is locked down. That is locked down.
It's been locked down. Well,
that's
it. So, yes, on that bombshell, if you want to donate any more to Forget Me Not Children's Hospice, who help children with life-shortening conditions all across the West Yorkshire region, then you can do so at www.forgetmenotchild.co.uk/donate. This has been Jack, Carroll and Friends with my first guest, Jason Manford. Thank you for doing it, Jason.
No worries.
Been a right laugh as this. So
good fun.
Yeah.
All right, guys. All the best.
All right. See you soon.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Bye.